What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Veteran and Rookie Podcast. This is your veteran here.
And this is, hi, I'm John. And we have a guest.
Long distance, David is back. What's up, David?
Doing well. How are you guys doing?
We're good.
We're sweating.
We're sweating. It's really hot, but
Yeah, let's have this conversation again.
it's not great. Today, we are doing quarterback rankings.
We are.
So we got 32 quarterbacks here. I'm not sure if we all have the same 32 quarterbacks because of starters and I almost said freshmen because of rookies and
that
stuff.
kind of
So
Yeah. Did you rank just your top 32 quarterbacks, or did you go like every team's starter?
I did starters. I did all 32 starters. Definitely, if it was a quarterback
Yeah,
thing.
that's what I did.
Yeah,
too.
there's definitely some teams that would be missing out here.
Yeah, because then you're getting into some weird backups.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Drew, well, you want to start us off? What's your 32?
Yeah, I'll start at the bottom.
Yeah, thank you. So my 32, and has nothing to do with how bad I think he can be. We haven't seen anything yet, obviously, from rookie C.J. Stroud, quarterback of the Texans, and so it's really not a knock against him for him being in my list at 32. But there's 31 other quarterbacks that I've at least seen do something or are more highly rated on my board. And so I don't really have much to say about that. CJ Stroud's at 32. By the end of the year, I expect him to be way higher, though.
Right, yeah. I had all the rookies down there pretty low, too, just because they're rookies. And, like, even, like, with C.J. Stroud, like, he had that one preseason game where he wasn't very good, but I don't care because he's a rookie and it's the preseason. So, but I did all the way at the bottom. I went with Colt McCoy, since it looks like he will be starting most of the games, or at least the beginning, for the Cardinals with Kyler out. And he's going to be 37 by the time the season starts. I'd honestly be surprised if he even played more than 5 games, just because he's always been injury prone and whatnot. But for now, it looks like he's going to be the starter. And yeah, things aren't looking good in Arizona.
Yeah, they might not win a game this year. We'll see.
It might be close, yeah.
Because they might win against the Texans, and maybe that's it. But I have at 32, I got Will Levis. Kind of same thing with the rookies. You haven't seen too much from him, and I really haven't watched too much tape from Will Levis, but I know he puts mayonnaise in his coffee, and he was picked after C.J. Stroud and Bryce Young because of his college career. So just because of that, I put him at the bottom.
And you went with Levis over Tannehill.
I did. I went Levis over Tannehill because
Okay.
I think they'll go to Levis if he starts playing well, and just like later in the year, because they'll probably have Tannehill for like 3-4 games, and or maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
Yeah.
See. You want to hit us up 31? We can just go in a circle. It'd be David, and then go back to Benea, and then I'm the end of the circle.
Yeah, let's
That's
do
a
it.
great idea, guys.
I like my 31 because we were just talking about him. Colt McCoy is indeed my 31th ranked quarterback. Kind of going off of exactly what you said, Benea, there's not much there in Arizona. And with Kyler Murray being out, honestly, even if Kyler Murray was in, he still wouldn't be very high on my list anyways. So I think that 31, Colt McCoy, haven't seen a lot from him. I can't put him any higher than 30 other quarterbacks in the NFL.
Yep, my number 31 went with the very unproven Sam Howell for Washington. He only played one game last year. He completed like 57% of his passes for like 150 yards. Touchdown and a pick. I mean, he's basically, he's essentially like a 5th-round rookie that's going to be starting for them this season. And so, could he be good? Sure, he had a couple nice throws in that game. But again, like, he's just a big question mark. So I have him down here right around where I have all the rookies too.
Yeah, sweet. I have Bryce Young. I put most of my rookies just dead bottom because, we've seen everything, or not seen everything. We've seen things from all the other quarterbacks. Same kind of reasoning. Just put him above because he was picked above. And I also forgot about this for a second, but I have a football ranking from Sharp Football Analyst. Okay, it's them. And they also ranked their quarterbacks, and they gave them a rating out of 100. And 32 was Sam Howell and Jacoby Brissett. and they were at 32, and they were ranked a 3 out of 100.
Ouch.
And then 31, they had Baker Mayfield and Kyle Trask. Trask
Yeah.
at 31, and they were ranked 4 out of 100. So, bummer. But 30.
At my 30 spot, Desmond Ritter falls there. I don't have Desmond Ritter
Same.
high. I don't have him high. Is he your 30 as well?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't have him high at all. Yeah, I just don't see. Honestly, I think there's another quarterback on the Falcons that's better than Desmond Ritter, and I think they'd be wise to play him and start him. But I didn't see a single good thing really from him last year. There is that year 2 bump that you hope for quarterbacks to do well, but for now he's 30.
Yeah.
He's at 30.
Yeah, he played very conservative from what I saw last year. In 4 games, he went 2-2. He had 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, and not a ton of yards either for 4 games. So I guess he could end up being maybe like some kind of game manager or something. But again, same thing with him and Sam Howell. They're just a big old question mark still. We don't really know.
Right, for 30, I had C.J. Stroud, just all my rookies at the bottom. C.J. Stroud, tiny little fella. Or wait, is that Bryce Young who's tiny?
Bryce Young's tiny. Yeah.
Bryce Young's tiny. I get him mixed up. But, just a rookie. And then the Sharp analysts had Desmond Ritter. So you guys hit it on the head there.
Boom, nailed it.
Nailed it. And they had
Nice.
Desmond Ritter at a 9 out of 100.
Ouch.
Big bummer.
Gotcha.
All right. Who's your number 29, David?
We're just repeating names at this point. Sam Howell is my 29. Same reasons as you said. Didn't see a whole lot from him last year, and he's not a rookie anymore. So he's really expected to perform really well, especially with the new head coach over there in Washington. Will he make that next stride, if you will? I don't see it. I don't really see the talent, really a whole lot of talent there, but he very well could. And so I think he's better than 3 other quarterbacks on the board, so I have him at 29.
Yeah, I think it's kind of the same thing there as they have in Atlanta, where like there's a better quarterback on the roster with Jacoby Brissett. So like if Washington was serious about winning, they would start him. But I understand with Howell because he is young and he's got potential and whatnot. But yeah, I think they gotta, if things do go south, they do have Brissett there. And then, yeah, like you were saying, too, with, like, repeating names, I got C.J. Stroud here, my first rookie, at number 29. Again, he's a rookie. It's a big old question mark. Didn't look good in the preseason, but I also don't care. But I do have him ranked the bottom out of all the rookies.
At 29, I have Desmond Ritter, just a spot above you guys. I agree with literally everything you said. The one time I saw Desmond Ritter, I was like, yeah, I guess he's a quarterback. It's just like there's nothing exciting. He could be good. I don't think so, though. And then Sharp Analysts had the Packers' Jordan Love at number 29. They had him a 14 out of 100. So
Dang.
we'll get to talking about him in just a second here.
My 28, I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers quarterback, Baker Mayfield, at 28. This guy is. It's so interesting that it seemed like just a few years ago, and it was a few years ago, he was in the playoffs, leading a Browns team to the playoffs and doing well, I might add. And he's at 28 on my list because he's hopped around, jumped ship a few times. I don't see a whole lot of talent from him. He made one good preseason play that I saw just a week ago. But you know what you're getting with Baker Mayfield at this point. You know what you're getting. And to me, you're getting a 28th ranked quarterback from Baker Mayfield. Doesn't mean that the Buccaneers are going to be bad or anything like that. I just don't think he's that talented.
Yeah, I would say I think Baker Mayfield, he's got his moments, one of the highs and lows. He's the new Ryan Fitzpatrick of the NFL, where he's going to bounce around and play for 14 teams.
That's like that.
He'll have some 400 yards, 4 touchdown games, but he's also going to have his 4 interception games. And then my number 28, just sticking with the rookies here, Anthony Richardson. Just put him above CJ Stroud just because he does have that more of a dual threat there. But same thing with him. He had his preseason game. It happened, but I also don't care.
Yeah, bummer. Yeah, I got Jordan Love at 28, just a little bit above what the analysts had him at, and we haven't seen too much from Jordan Love. We saw a little bit last year, and it looked pretty good, but can't bank on like one good drive or one good play or whatever, because Baker Mayfield also had that 98-yard play on the Rams, and it's not enough to go off of. So he's essentially a rookie, and that's why I have him at 28 here. And then the analysts had at 28, they had Tannehill and Levis because they put their quarterbacks together, and they had them ranked 28 with 14 points out of 100. So they are cracking down hard. It's like that, like 14 points. That is, man, that sucks.
Brutal.
What do you got for 27, David?
27 is a rookie. I have Anthony Richardson here. Same reasons as you guys. With these rookies, you just don't know. They could pop off year one and be really high on this list, or not. And so I think the conservative approach is keep them low.
Yep, and that's exactly why I have Bryce Young at number 27. Got him at the top of all the rookies that are going to be starting, just because there's a reason he was picked first overall and picked above Richardson and Stroud. So, I'm just gonna go with that, and he does look like he has the highest ceiling out of all those players. So, yeah, why not 27?
27 for me. I have Sam Howell. You guys already talked about him. These bottom 10-ish guys kind of bottom like 8. They kind of just like they're all interchangeable for me. It doesn't really matter. It's kind of just they're all
Yeah.
And some of them could be good, some of them could be bad. I don't disagree with any of your guys' ratings and solid reasoning. You guys already talked about Sam Howell, but yeah, I have him at 27. That's it for I know the analysts, my goodness. They have at 27 it's the Colts. They have Anthony Richardson and Gardner Minshew. They have him a 15 out of 100. So, and I do like Gardner Minshew, but I'm sure they'll start.
I think Gardner would have been on my top 32 list. He's not a starter though, so but yeah, he's talented enough to where he easily could be. So.
Oh yeah, I love Minshew.
Mm-hmm.
The Minshew mania.
That's right.
The mustache.
Yeah, my number 26, Bryce Young, rookie. That's the last of the rookies right there. Yeah.
Yep. My number 26, Baker Mayfield, who we already hit on. So.
Yeah, me too. I got Baker at 26. We've just seen a bit more from him than the rookies because the rookies we haven't seen anything. And by golly, he did have that 198-yard drive. So
did he ever?
Did he ever? At this Sharp analyst, I'm just going to call him Sharp. Sharp had it at 26. They had Kenny Pickett at 18 out of 100.
Okay, at 25, I have the quarterback for the New England Patriots, Mac Jones, ball here. I think that, Mac Jones, he can put together some solid drives, kind of like Baker Mayfield. He just put together some solid drives, but there's no it factor when I see Mac Jones. He's just kind of prototypical quarterback. I just don't see anything special about him. I don't think he has a special arm. I don't think he has any special IQ. And you know what? He could definitely prove me wrong this year. But I think if the Patriots had a quarterback that were above 25, they'd be in the playoffs with that defense. But unfortunately, I don't think they do. So Mac Jones at 25.
Yeah, maybe like a Tom Brady or something. Would maybe get him to the playoffs.
That's right. If they had Tom Brady, I think they'd make it.
I do think the one thing with Mac Jones that will really help him, though, is he has a real offensive coordinator this season. He doesn't have a defensive coordinator calling the plays for him and whatnot. My number 25 is my team's new quarterback, Jordan Love. And there's a big question mark around him as well because he hasn't played very much meaningful football. He had the one start against Kansas City. He came in the fourth quarter last year against the Eagles. And so, he's had his ups and downs with that. But really just still a big question mark with him too. You know, he's had some good practices. You know, he's had some good throws in the preseason, but again, I want to see what you can do on a real field. So I think he definitely has the potential to be good, but we still have yet to really see anything. So I got him at 25.
26 or wow, 25 for me. I have Anthony Richardson. No real reason, just he's there. Like I said, these last guys kind of float around, and I may or may not have put one guy on this list twice and then had to fill his name in with Anthony Richardson. So that may have happened or may not have. But yeah, that's the last of my rookies. And then the analyst had at number 5, they had Mac Jones as well. So yeah. Oh, and they had him at a 28, 10 whole points higher than Kenny Pickett.
Yeah, and then my number 24, Jordan Love. Yeah, so we're just kind of recycling quarterbacks at this point. I could have put Jordan Love. I could have probably argued him a little bit lower just because I haven't seen a whole lot from him. But you got to remember the defenses that he played was the Eagles and it was the Chiefs. Your 2 Super Bowl teams right there. So I don't think we've seen nearly enough of Jordan Love to really indicate anything. It is his 4th year. So I expect him to know the offense, Matt LaFleur's offense that he'll be playing in this year. And so because of that, I have him at 24. I think he's better than the other quarterbacks I've listed. But you're right. We'll see. We don't know yet. Yeah, a lot of what-ifs there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my number 24 is Kenny Pickett, which, again, still a lot of what-ifs there and whatnot. He did play a good chunk of last year, and, you know, definitely he played like a rookie. And so I am kind of banking on him making that year 2 leap. He doesn't need to be a superstar or an MVP or anything, but just, 20 touchdowns, 10 picks, 4,000 yards, something like that, to kind of get here. And I think he definitely has that. And a lot of that's just because I trust Mike Tomlin and I trust that Steelers team to develop him.
For sure. I also have Kenny Pickett at 24. And I think this team can make a good playoff run if he just picks it up a little bit. Saw some good things here and there from him, but I think he can pull it all together, especially with a really good receiver, and they just got that tight end. So I'm excited to see what they do. And then the analysts had it as Jimmy Garoppolo and at 24, and he was a 28 out of 100.
Hey, my number 23 quarterback, I have the quarterback from Tennessee, Ryan Tannehill. I think that there is an IQ there that I like. The things that it really brings to the table is just that veteran experience. He's been in those tight playoff games before. Unfortunately, he has not come out on the other side successful, and so I can't really put him much higher than this. And of course, with Will Levis coming in, is there going to be a quarterback controversy? Probably. I don't know. That the rumors are saying Ryan Tannehill is going to be mentoring Will Levis this season, but you just never know with their abilities. So I'm sure you guys will talk about Ryan Tannehill a little bit later on, but he's my 23 quarterback.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's the first one that, at least on my list, we would kind of disagree on. I got him quite a bit higher. I might have him too high, but we'll get to there when we do. My number 23 quarterback is Justin Fields of the Bears. And he was amazing on the ground last year, but does need to work on some stuff through the air. But, I mean, even going from his rookie year to last year, we saw improvement in the passing game. And so if that continues, I think he could be a real threat for defenses.
100%. Yeah, Justin Fields, he was thrown to like Walmart employees last year.
Yeah, he's got DJ Moore now.
He's got DJ Moore now, but he was still missing wide open receivers. So a little bit of work there. For my 23, I had Kyler Murray.
Okay.
I have him instead of I can't remember who the freaking guy is, but I have him in, and I think he's just kind of And even if he does play, the Cardinals will probably still lose 15 games. So I have him at 23. Not much to say there. Short little guy. There was that one picture of him in a sports bra. That was kind of weird. What a weirdo. My goodness. The analyst has Bryce Young at 23, and they have him as a 33 out of 100. So, yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of odd-looking guys, My 22 quarterback is Daniel Jones.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, Daniel Jones. I mean, I get it. He should be ranked higher on most people's boards just because of what he did last year, getting his team to the playoffs. That's what an accomplishment that is. I think, however, that was more because of the coaching versus the quarterback. Daniel Jones doesn't make special plays. He's just kind of, once again, kind of that prototypical quarterback. Honestly, he kind of reminds me of Mac Jones, except he's kind of in a better system and some key offensive players around him. And so we could disagree on that. That's totally fine. I have Daniel Jones at 22.
Yeah, I got the other Jones here at 22, Mac Jones. And yeah, I'd agree because you'll look ahead into my list. I got Daniel Jones at 21. And so I think they're pretty much right next to each other there. And yeah, the thing that Danny Dimes brings to the table, he's got a little bit more mobility. But, I mean, he only threw 15 touchdowns last year, and he played all but one game. So, yeah, I agree. It's a lot more of the system than it is the quarterback.
For sure. I have Justin Fields here at 22. We were just talking about him, Walmart employees and all. Even with DJ Moore out there, I don't think he's going to make those hard throws, and he's just going to be needing to run a lot. So I think he'll still be running a lot this year, and I don't think the Bears will be that good, really. If he had a better arm, I think they could be over 500, but I don't think they will. That's all I have to say about him. The analysts at 22 had CJ Stroud at a 34 out of 100.
Are we on 21?
I believe
Yep.
so.
Yeah, this is where let's ride Russell Wilson goes. This is where Russ falls. He's at 21. That season last year was just so bad. That was a bottom tier quarterback performance I saw all year. I don't expect him to play that bad with Sean Payton this year. I really don't. I do think the Broncos will do well, but I can't with what.
Do you think that the country will be riding?
I think honestly, in my, I know this is really not this podcast episode. I do have the Broncos making the playoffs, but I do not have them making it because of Russ. I have them making it because of their coach and other players. Really, Russell Wilson's 21, and listen, I do think he can still throw. He can still throw a good pass. He can still throw good passes. He can still, for the most part, dissect defenses. I think athletically, he's just small, and it's really caught up to him. And there's certain plays he's having a rough time with, and so I can't put him higher than 21.
Mm-hmm.
I can though, and I did. But we're not there yet.
Like I already said, Daniel Jones at 21 there for me. Last year probably was the best year of his career, so I mean, if he can keep that up and at least be a serviceable game manager, maybe like an Alex Smith type player for the Giants, he might be able to make his way up to being a league average quarterback. But I mean, we've seen, what was it, like 3 years of him not being good, and then he was good last year. So let's see if he actually can maintain or even continue to improve his level of play.
For sure. We're at 21, right?
Yep.
My goodness. 21, I have Mac Jones. Already covered him. I don't like Mac Jones, like personally, like a personal level. Like I don't like the person. You know what I'm saying? And I still had him ranked higher than both of you guys. So at 21, the analyst had Geno Smith, which is, I think, really low. And they had him at a 35 out of 100, which is insane.
Wow. Okay.
So,
yeah, my 20 is Deshaun Watson of the Cleveland Browns.
Deshaun Watson.
I think he's talented. I think can be really good. We've seen him be on playoff teams. We haven't seen much from him on the Browns. And so excited to see what he can do this year. I have him at 20.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my 20 is Russell Wilson. Like you were saying, he was terrible last year. I mean, like historically bad. That Broncos offense, I think, was the worst that we've seen in this century. And so my hope for him, and the reason he isn't lower than 20, is just because, we've seen him be good for a decade, and so hoping that, he can at least get back to something like that. And then also with Sean Payton there, and hopefully that will, help him. Because if not, like his at this point, I would say like his starting job and even like his own legacy is in jeopardy.
20 for me, I got Jimmy G. He's a good game manager. He can throw a solid pass every once in a while, but he's a good backup. And he was a good backup for Tom Brady, and that's kind of how I see him, as a backup. And now he's starting, and he has been for a bit. So I think he's a backup caliber, like a good backup, but and he's better than some of these other guys. That's why I have him at 20. These bottom 12 are just, but and then the analysts had Kyler Murray at 20 at a 42 out of 100. So yeah, pretty close to what we were all saying.
All right, I got to hurry it up here, but my number 19 is also Jimmy G. You know what you're getting with him. Good starting quarterback, not phenomenal by any means.
My number 19 is actually the guy who took over for Jimmy G in San Francisco, and that is Brock Purdy, who looked really good in his 5 regular season starts and then his 3 playoff games that he had last year. The main reason that I've got him as low as I do is just because of the small sample size. If he can continue that kind of play, he could be like a top 13 type quarterback or something like that, work his way into the upper half. But I want to see some more of what Purdy's got.
For sure. I, on the other hand, did not. I had Russell Wilson. You guys already talked about him. I put him a bit higher than you guys just because of the play he's had the other 9 years he's been in the league. Mm-hmm. So I think it's just a down year. It'll come back. And then the analyst had Brock Purdy at 19, at a 42 overall, same as Kyler Murray. So
okay, 18. I have Derek Carr going here of the New Orleans Saints. I actually have the Saints being my division winners for the South. And I think Derek Carr has a lot to do with it, just because I don't really trust any other quarterback in that division. But Derek Carr is also not outstanding by any means. He's not flashy with his play, but he's a veteran, and I think he's going to find some success on a new team.
My number 18 here is Deshaun Watson, similar to Russ. He's been good in the past, and then he was not so good last year. But again, similar to Russ, and a lot more, I think, with Watson, I'm banking on him, coming back to his old form, or at least being like a league average. Because I think if he can be league average, I think the Browns have a pretty good roster there and could make a run. But so yeah, if Watson can, I think he could be a top 10 quarterback this season. It's just from what we saw last year, you didn't really see it. And so that's why I got him down at 18.
18 for me. I also have Deshaun Watson. You said it all. He always just kind of put me off. Deshaun Watson is kind of just like, huh. So that's all I have to say on him. And Sharp had at 18. They had Daniel Jones at a 45 overall.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. Deshaun Watson, you get put off by him, especially in fantasy football. It's like you start him and he doesn't do anything. My 17 quarterback, however, fantasy wise, is absolutely phenomenal, and we might disagree here. 17 is Jared Goff. I think he's a phenomenal. I do think he's a very good quarterback. And at this point, I think 17 and above, you could make a case. You could really make a case for any of them taking a next step. Jared Goff, I really do not think he's that special. I really do think that the Lions just have so much talent. They really do. They're just stacked. I mean, I think that really helps Jared Goff. It really helped him when he was on the Rams. And so a phenomenal game manager. Right. I have him at 17.
My number 17, and this is where we're getting into you can, any of my guys really from 10 to 17, you can kind of put them in any order. And so my number 17 here is Jimmy G. It's just he'll be solid for about half the season, and then he's going to go break his foot or something. But he's a solid game manager type quarterback.
17 for me, I had Daniel Jones. You guys already talked about him. And oddly enough, Sharp analysts had Matthew Stafford at 17, which I think is that's pretty low. They had him at a 47 overall. So, yeah, that's them.
My 16 quarterback I have Geno Smith going here. I think Geno Smith is a very good quarterback. I really do. I think he's going to have even more help on the wide receiver now that they have Jackson Smith and Jigba coming to Seattle. Once again, he's a lot like Jared Goff. He's a really good game manager, and I think he can really he's a veteran in the league, can really put good drives together. I just don't see the special it factor coming from the quarterback position there.
See, my number 16 got Derek Carr, who's just moody Jimmy G. And yeah, I think he's the best quarterback in the South there. So
I got Brock Purdy at 16. This upper half, I think with his performance, I think he did crack the top 16 for me, and I think he can keep doing it. And everyone was saying it was just because of that offense, but then you put some, Walmart employee in there, and then he started throwing picks, and then he got hurt too. So I think he's good, and it's not just because of the offense. I put him at 16. And then Sharp had hit at 16. They had Derek Carr at a 47 overall out of 100.
So David's on a little bit of a time crunch here. We're about at the halfway point. David, do you just want to maybe take us through your next half of quarterbacks, and then we can let you go?
Oh, good. Thanks for taking the time to listen to me too as well. I want to thank you for that now. Before anything happens. Yeah. So 15, I got Kenny Pickett. I think Kenny Pickett will make major strides this year. And quite frankly, I think that Steelers team, just so you know, they have my second seed in the AFC. I have them beating up the Bengals in that division. I think they're going to be very dangerous this year, and I think the George Pickens, Deontay Johnson combo is going to be really good. But that's 15. 14 is where Justin Fields goes. A lot of talent, a lot of hype, and I do believe in it quite a bit. But I don't have him over certain quarterbacks because, okay, you still got a lot to prove, young blood. You still got a lot to prove. And Fields, talented, uber talented. He's at 14, and honestly, he could slide down the list, and he could slide up the list by the end of the year. I just don't know with him. My 13 is Kirk Cousins. You know what you're getting with him. The guy that's going to put together 10 wins, 11 wins in a season, and then choke in the playoffs or choke during the primetime games. But you're still going to get a lot of yards from Kirk Cousins. And so I have him at 13. 12 is Matthew Stafford for me. Kind of self-explanatory there. Good quarterback, down year last year. We'll see what he does this year. Tua Tagovailoa is 11. I don't think he cracks the top 10 to me, but I think he's almost there. And we'll see what he does. Once again, we'll see what happens after this year. My number 10 quarterback, getting into my top 10. My number 10 is Brock Purdy. I have Brock Purdy sneaking in the top 10. Wow. I think I've seen enough from him to realize he is a threat in this league. I truly believe he's a threat in this league. He's not better than the 9 other quarterbacks on this list, but I know that's kind of a hot take. I think Brock Purdy is a phenomenal quarterback, and I think he's going to show. I think he's going to show people by the end of this year. I think he's going to show people he's really good, and the Niners are a force to be reckoned with. My number.
I like that.
Yeah. It's kind of an interesting one, but I'm going with it. And my number 9 pick is Aaron Rodgers. A lot of people I think would put him higher in that top five spot. You look at a regression that you've seen the last 3 years from Aaron Rodgers. Now, I understand some of that comes down to just kind of what was going down in Green Bay during the time. Is it the coaching? Is it losing your offensive coordinator, Nathaniel Hackett, last year? Maybe that was the regression. I don't know. All I know is he's 39 years old, and it's really not a knock against him. I think he's a great quarterback. I just really like 8 other quarterbacks better. That's really what it comes down to. It really isn't a knock against him. My number 8 quarterback, and you could make a case for him or Rodgers. I have Dakota Prescott of the Dallas Cowboys falling at number 8. I think once again he's like Kirk Cousins, except he actually exudes some form of talent more than Kirk Cousins does. Like, he's going to win a playoff game, right? He's going to do more. The problem with Dakota Prescott is he hasn't done that, right? He hasn't gone past the divisional round. And so, good quarterback. I would even say great quarterback. He's not elite. He's not an elite one. I think the top 7, in my opinion, are elite quarterbacks. This is where I would consider the top 7 to be elite. Number 7 is Justin Herbert. And the reason why he's 7 is because he has not given me, at least, a reason to think he is better than all the other elite quarterbacks. You've seen the talent. You can clearly see the talent on tape. You can see it in the games. But quite frankly, you shouldn't blow 24-0 leads in the wild card round. That's very unbecoming of Justin Herbert, and I can't put him higher than my number 6 guy, Trevor Lawrence, for that reason. I think Trevor Lawrence is a baller. I think his IQ is really high. I think the thing that knocks him down a bit is his interceptions and turnovers. But yeah, I got Trevor Lawrence at 6. I think the Jags are going to do great again this year. My number 5 is probably one of the most talented quarterbacks on this list, Lamar Jackson. Lamar, crazy, uber talented. He's a phenomenal arm. But I watched some of the highlights of him this last year. He's got a cannon. His accuracy is really good, really underrated. My knock on him is he can't win certain playoff games. You can't get past that next step, and you have to be clutch. You have to be clutch, really, to be on the high end. But the reason why he's 5 is because of the talent. The talent's there, and you can see it. Number 4, similar to Lamar Jackson, except younger than Lamar Jackson, is Josh Allen. The talent is there. Tons of talent there. And quite frankly, more so talent, in my opinion, in terms of throwing the ball than Lamar Jackson has. Way more talent in there. Josh Allen's won a few playoff games. He's young, though. Still got a lot to prove. I have him at 4. And that's because I think Jalen Hurts is better at 3. I really do. And you call me a homer. I believe the Philadelphia Eagles quarterback. I think he's clutch. He's got the gene. He's got the clutch gene that a lot of other quarterbacks are really in desperate need of. A lot of talented quarterbacks are in desperate need of. Now, part of that could be talent on the Eagles roster. I understand that. I get that. I think that the strides that Jalen Hurts has made puts him in the top 3. And in my top 2, it's very close. My top 2 is 2 Joe Burrow, 1 Pat Mahomes. But honestly, I think Patrick Mahomes is overrated in this league as the golden boy face of the whole entire league. I think Joe Burrow is right behind him. I really do. And by the way, for that matter, I think in terms of talent, I think that the top 5, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, I think that they're all much closer than people realize. I think it really all depends on, okay, who's got the edge in the playoffs, who's got that it factor, if you will. And Patrick Mahomes, you can't discredit what he's done. He is the number 1 quarterback in the NFL. But I would not be shocked if these rankings change that by the end of the year. I could see Josh Allen ranking to going up to number 1. I could see Lamar Jackson with an amazing Ravens squad going to number 1. I could just see so much happening. But as of right now, those are my rankings.
Well, solid.
All right, good stuff. Yeah.
Thanks for coming on. We can do this another time too.
Oh yeah, we gotta have you on sometime in the season, something like that. Get you on here.
Yeah, and I'll.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. I'm gonna have to listen to this podcast again later on to see what you guys have to say about my predictions because I have no idea what you guys think about those quarterbacks I just ranked. That was just.
Right.
I just shotgunned that in the air. So yeah, I'd love to hear what you guys think about that as well. But yeah, maybe during the season we'll talk. I hope to get back on here soon. So thanks for having me, guys.
Oh yeah, for sure. We'll have you.
Sweet. Thank you, David.
Yeah, have a good one.
Veteran, rookie. See you later.
See ya.
Bye. Well, shoot, guys. That was a lot. That was that was different than I thought it would be.
For real.
I mean, I knew he he's an Eagles fan, so I knew Jalen Hurts was going up that far. I think it's a solid argument, though.
That was surprising, though. Well, let's just pick up at 15, and then
Shoot, we're all the way back here.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's get it.
I don't remember who we had back
we don't
here,
need this on anymore.
We don't need the earbuds in.
Oh, all the way back. Yeah, buddy.
Oh, you can get away from me now. Oh, I feel free.
Oh, I got to do the thing for the thumbnail.
Oh, for the thumbnail, yeah. All right, so number 15, I think, is where we left off.
Yeah, buddy.
And that's where I got Tua. He put Tua at 11, I think.
Yeah, I think that's high.
I think it is, too, because I like Tua. I really want Tua to be good. I think I've said this on a previous episode where I really want Tua to be good. But I just have such a tough time seeing it on the field where he's like underthrowing guys and whatnot. Maybe it's because he's left-handed, and I hate people who are left-handed. But
yikes!
I just have a tough time seeing it. I can't like the game. I think it was last season on Sunday Night Football against the Chargers or maybe it was against the Steelers. I don't remember, but he was like 4 of 20 and like should have thrown 4 picks, and like most of the picks were dropped. And it's stuff like that I just can't get out of my mind when when it comes to thinking about Tua. And so that's why I have him here at 15, right in the middle of what I would call average quarterbacks, which is kind of goes from like Jimmy G up to about 10 for me.
Yeah, for sure. My average quarterbacks are probably like 12 to, I don't know, probably 20 or 21, maybe 22. That's crazy he had Justin Fields that high. I have Justin Fields at 22. I don't think he's wrong, though. I think he could pop off.
Oh, 100%.
But at 15, because that's where we are now, I have Derek Carr. I do think he's the best in that conference, and not much else to say besides what you guys have already said. Sharp has, at 15, they have Jared Goff, and he's a 52 overall. So, yeah.
So David and Sharp both a little bit lower on Goff than we are.
Yeah, I think Goff's a little bit better than
I get what David was saying, though, because with Goff, I will say, like, he's kind of like a product of the system, if you will, almost, where, like, if he doesn't have great players around him, he's not going to elevate them. But he will make the most out of the talent that you put around him.
I think the same can be said for Kirk Cousins with the best receiver in the league, too.
Mm-hmm.
So,
let's see. My number 14, and this is, I think, one of the big ones that David and I disagreed on. We had Justin Fields. He had Justin Fields way higher than I did. I had Ryan Tannehill way higher than he had him. He had like 23 or something like that. And the reason is I think Tannehill is pretty similar to Garoppolo or Carr, but the added element is that it can be a lot more of a threat on the ground. As a former wide receiver, he's got some speed to him, and so he can do that. And I think he's a very underrated quarterback still. I think he's very overhated, really, ever since the Titans' playoff loss to the Bengals a couple of years ago. I think everyone kind of viewed Tannehill a little bit differently, but I still think he's one of the better quarterbacks in the league and in the upper half.
Yeah. I didn't have Tannehill on mine. I went with Will Levis, but for my 14, I got Tua. Totally agree with everything you said, and I saw some videos on him. People just analyzing him, and his arm is like really weak. Like,
yeah, I don't think it's just because he's left-handed. I don't think he has the strongest arm.
Like, I'm fairly certain I could throw like almost as far as, maybe not that far, but like, yeah, he's constantly underthrowing people, and that
just luckily Tyreek Hill has 5 yards of separation.
Yeah, so he goes up and it's a go route, but he has to make it a curl and then come back for it, and then he gets a touchdown. I guess that contributed a lot to.
Maybe Tyreek Hill's too fast.
Yeah, you gotta nerf him. Sharp at 14, they had Russell Wilson, so a bit higher than you guys. Yeah, they had him at 53 out of 100.
Let's see. So my number 13. This is another disagreement with David here. I think he had Geno Smith at about 17 or so. So this isn't anything too far off from that. But I have Geno Smith at 13, and I do kind of have a similar take on him as I do with Daniel Jones, which is just is he good now, or is he at least serviceable now, or was that kind of just like a 1 year wonder kind of a deal? But last year, Geno was a whole lot better than Daniel Jones. He was making some incredible throws. So maybe it's a touch high for him, but I like him here at 13.
Yeah, he had a crazy deep ball. He was really accurate for the most part and had a crazy deep ball. I think his completion rate was like one of the highest in the NFL, right?
I think he might have led the league in completion percentage.
He might have led, yeah. So I think he just found his stride. He's going to keep going. Hopefully. I hope so. He never wrote back, so good for him. I got in 13, I got Dakota. Maybe it's just because I don't like Dakota, and I'm an ex Cowboys fan. I've been converted to the light side, and yeah, that's not much else to say about him except for that he led the league in interceptions in like 5 less games. So yeah, good for him, I guess. Sharp had at 13. They had Kirk Cousins and had him at 58 overall out of 100.
Okay, that's fair.
Which that's fine. It's a fine spot for him. We'll talk about him in a second when we get to our totally overrated rankings of him. But it's a 12. What do you think?
I got Jared Goff.
Well,
I think
me too.
He was pretty similar to Geno Smith in a lot of ways. I think I already said what I think about Jared Goff, which is he makes the most out of what's around him, and if there's not much around him, he's not going to really be elevating the talent there. But I think he had one of, if not his best season last year, and there's still a lot of talent there, so I think he's going to be pretty good.
Yeah, I still have Jared Goff here too, and he had almost identical stats to Kirk Cousins. He had less picks, which is I think
as many picks.
I think he had half as many picks. I can look at that.
I
quick.
think Goff might have had 9 and Cousins might have 14, something like that.
Oh,
so.
I think it was 7 and 14 because it was half.
Okay, yeah, that's right.
So that's pretty good on the picks, but it just like you said, a lot of talent there, and he doesn't elevate. He works with it, and so
yeah,
not much else to say about Jared Goff. Sharp had at 12. They had Justin Fields at 12.
Wow, a lot of people high on Fields.
I
thought I might have almost put Fields too high. I initially had him lower than Kenny Pickett and Jordan Love, and I was like, no, I got to make him higher than those guys at least.
I think I put Kenny Pickett too low. I think he'll be good, but I think I agree with David in the fact that they could get the 2nd seed in their division, but I think it'll be Bengals and then them, and that the Ravens won't get that 3rd seed or would it be 5th seed, whatever.
Yeah.
So the Bears 12. That's kind of crazy. He had a 60 overall, so he's way above.
Wow, they are really high on him.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Who are these people? Who let these people have a website?
Yeah, what is wrong with them? To 11.
My number 11 is Kirk Cousins, just right above
Kirk Duggins.
Jared Goff there. You always know what you're going to get with Kirk Cousins. That's 4,200 passing yards, 30 touchdowns, 10 picks, and maybe a wild card spot and a playoff loss, and you're going to lose in prime time. And that's, you know what you're going to get. That's always the story with Kirk Cousins. And, he'll get you to typically 7 to 10 wins. Last year, a little bit of an outlier, both in the wins and also the interceptions. I don't think he's going to throw as many picks this upcoming season. But, yeah, Kirk Cousins, number 11.
I think part of the reason he threw so many picks was he was just kind of chucking it up to Jettis. And just
screw it, he's down there somewhere.
Yeah, he's down there somewhere. So that might have been part of the reason. At 11, I have Geno Smith. I think he's better than Jared Goff. You think he's slightly worse. I think he's a little bit better. Just awesome deep ball, really accurate, completed more passes than anybody percentage-wise, and had 3,500 yards, something like that. I can look it up. But
Geno? No, I think he had over 4,000. He set the record for passing yards for
Really?
Seahawks.
That's crazy.
Like 10 years, Russ is there for 10 years, and then Geno gets to start for 1 year, and he breaks the record.
That's crazy. Yeah, I'm looking
I think
at
he had like 40.
4,200. Yeah, 4,200.
Yeah,
4,200.
4,200. Like, I mean, that's a good amount, but that's nothing crazy.
It's nothing crazy, but like that's really solid after coming off.
I'm pretty sure he broke the record. Don't quote me, but
Yeah, 11 picks, 30 touchdowns. He was third in the league for touchdowns or 4th.
I think he was 3rd.
He was 4th.
Goff.
He was 4th because Josh Allen tied with Burrow.
Mm-hmm. And Mahomes was 1.
Yeah. So yeah, that was our 11, and then they have Deshaun Watson at 11.
Okay, I think he has that potential, but
I think he has that potential, but he sure didn't show it.
not last year.
He's a 63 out of 100.
All right, cracking on the top 10 now. I got Dakota Prescott
Boo.
in that spot there. He had a lot of picks last year. Yeah, 15 picks in like, how many games did he play? 12 or something like that in the regular
12.
season. And so that's not a good look for him. And he has been throwing a lot of picks in practice. I also don't care about practice. I think that is a little bit of an outlier season. They got a new offensive coordinator in the building there and whatnot. If the turnovers do continue this season, he's going to find his way a little bit lower on this list next year. But for now, I think Dak Prescott, I think David described him well. He's like a more athletic Kirk Cousins, who will win a playoff game and then lose.
Yeah, I think it was funny because what's his name? The DB, like he was picking him off in practice a lot, and then he was just like talking trash.
Trevon Diggs.
Trevon Diggs, yeah, the guy gets burnt a lot. He was picking him off in practice a lot and just like yelling at him and stuff. It's like that's not who you want your quarterback to be. Just the guy who gets yelled at after throwing a pick. I think he's in the right spot at 13. That's the only spot for him, I think.
Who you got at 10?
I got Matt Stafford. Down year last year, freaking hurt arm, and they were like, go play anyway. And it didn't turn out well. And then, and yeah, he ended up throwing more picks than he should have. I believe
it was 10 touchdowns to 8 picks.
10 touchdowns to 8 picks, and that's just imagine throwing with like a real bunt. I think it was his elbow. It was just really
his,
bad. His
arm was falling off.
And they were like, no, go out there and do it anyway. And, yeah, the biggest Super Bowl slump, like, ever, right?
Mm-hmm.
One of the biggest ever, if it isn't the biggest.
It was, yeah. By 2 games, I think.
Which is crazy. Just shows you the quarterback makes everything. And I think he does make this team a lot better this year, I think. Because his arm will be better.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping.
I think he's going to bring the Rams close to like a wild card spot or something, if he can stay healthy.
I think they'll be above 500 for sure. I think everyone's really underrating them. But I believe Matt Stafford's still in that top 10.
Yeah, speaking of Stafford, I got him at number 9
what?
in my rankings.
Crazy.
And, yeah, if he can go back to being the old Stafford that won the Super Bowl there and whatnot, then, yeah, I think they can be a fringe playoff team.
Good stuff. I got Kirk Cousins.
At number 9.
At number 9, yeah. I watched that football documentary. Solid documentary. It made me like Kirk Cousins
quarterback?
more. Quarterbacks. Yeah. It's good.
Kirk Cousins is a W off the field.
It's just huge W, and that maybe is pushing him up my rankings a little bit. Dude, I've said that with like 5 different people. Like, I'm pushing him down because I don't like him. Man, these are really professional.
These aren't even
rankings.
the best quarterbacks. They're just the ones you like.
Just I was like, man, Kirk Cousins is a chill dude. He's just
Man, Marcus Mariota just off the field. He's such a family man.
I
just gotta put him at 1.
No, the documentary. He was like, stop showing me Marcus Mariota. Get back to
that's
the
right. I
other
forgot
two.
he was on that show too.
Yeah, he was. They couldn't find anyone else. But I like Kirk Cousins. He threw 45, not 55, 100 yards and 29 touchdowns, which isn't crazy, and 14 picks, which is a little bit crazy. That was crazy ones. And I think he won't do that this year. I think Justin Jefferson has a chance at getting 2,000 yards. And I think if Kirk Cousins plays a little bit better than he did this year, a little bit less picks, a little less turnovers, he could do that. And I think Kirk Cousins is going to be him. Perk Thuggins with that chain, that W, hiking the ball and squeaking. Oh, shoot. The Jets, they have Aaron Rodgers at 9. And they have him at 75 overall. And then at 10 was Tua Tagovailoa at a 71. And I think that's low for Aaron Rodgers. I think David also was a little bit low on Aaron Rodgers.
I think so, too. We'll get there when we do, though.
We will.
My number 8 is Trevor Lawrence.
Oh, me too.
And I kind of had... I wanted to put him a little bit higher, but I couldn't. Because I hadn't... I don't think we've quite seen full Trevor Lawrence yet. Like his full potential. Because he got off to a slow start last year, and in the second half of the season, he really picked it up, and then in the playoffs, with that 27-point comeback against the Chargers that he led, and then, getting close to knocking off Mahomes in the playoffs too. So I think he's really starting to show what he can do, and this is going to be year 2 of him being coached by Doug Peterson and whatnot. I think that's going to help a lot, and that he could definitely rise these ranks some, but currently got him at number 8.
Yeah, I've seen some crazy stuff. We're putting him at like 3.
No.
And it's like, no, absolutely not. He's a ceiling floor kind of guy. He's back and forth, I think. And we saw that in that Chargers game. It was just like floor,
four picks,
and then ceiling. Four straight touchdowns. Or did they have 3? And then someone else ran one in, or
something like that. He led the offense on 4 touchdowns.
He led the offense on 4 touchdowns. But if the defense had let up even a field goal, that would have been game. So like you can't throw 4 picks and then throw 4 touchdowns. Let's say he threw 4. I don't remember. But yeah. So ceiling flooring it is you're really putting a lot of strain on your defense, and I don't think I can put him any higher than 8. Maybe he goes back to 9 or 10. I think anywhere in this top 8, 9, 10
Yeah.
area. But I think he could be good if he keeps that ceiling there. I think he could be top 5 this year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I like having him at 8 because for me at least on my list, I'd rather have him than Stafford. I'd rather have him than Dak. Rather have him than Cousins.
Yeah, I think depending on the circumstance, but yeah, for sure. Sharp had at 8. They had Dak Prescott at a 76 over Aaron Rodgers, so that's a bit silly.
Same as David.
Same as David. Yeah, I think it's a bit silly because of reasons that we'll get into in a second.
Number 7, I got Lamar Jackson.
What?
And if he can stay healthy, I think he can be an MVP type candidate. He just hasn't stayed healthy the last 2
He was
years.
last year. He got 1 vote.
He got what?
He got 1 vote for MVP. Oh wait, no, that's
No, I don't know what you're talking about. He played like
Oh.
12 games last year.
The heat stroke.
Lamar sucked last year.
Lamar's. The Ravens are terrible.
I really like Lamar when he stays healthy and whatnot. But even sometimes when he is healthy, he can be a touch inconsistent. But like when he's on, he's on. There's no denying how good Lamar Jackson can be. And I think 7's a good spot for him.
I got Justin Herbert in 7. I mean, that game against the Jags is a perfect example for him and Trevor Lawrence. I do have him above Trevor Lawrence because he's more either in the middle or very good or very medium. He's not like super bad, super good. So I think he throws a really pretty ball. He throws good deep ball. He's
so good.
He's good.
He just doesn't win.
He's so good, but he's just not good at winning, and that's just
I think that's just because he plays for the Chargers.
might be a Chargers
It's
thing.
just a Chargers thing. It's in his blood now.
Yeah, and it's he's gonna die a loser. So I don't think he'll ever, and this is like gonna bite me in the butt when he wins MVP this year, but I don't think he'll ever be like the best quarterback in the league. I just don't think he has it. He's like a really good quarterback, but he's not like the quarterback,
Yeah, that's fair.
I think the top 4, 5 guys, maybe 6, could all be like him, but I don't think Justin Herbert can be. That's just my opinion.
I think he can.
I-
Yeah.
Just for me, I don't think so. 7, the Sharp analyst had Trevor Lawrence at 7, at an 80 overall, which is 9 whole points higher than Aaron Rodgers, which is
Who runs this website?
a guy named Sharp, I'm pretty sure.
He needs to stop.
Yeah.
All right, number 6. I got Aaron Rodgers clocking in here. And, it's Aaron Rodgers, duh. I get that he's 30. He's coming off of a little bit of a down season where he threw double-digit picks for the first time since 2010, which is kind of insane. And he only threw 12, which, for some of these guys like Mahomes or Allen or Burrow, they throw that many every year.
Mm-hmm.
He's coming off a little bit of a down season, though, but I think he's going to be a little bit rejuvenated. He got some new life in him on the Jets now, and I think that's going to help. I wouldn't be surprised, honestly, if he messed around and got himself a 5th MVP this season.
What?
But for now, I gotta have him here at 6. just 'cause he's
Stop
coming off
right
that down
away.
season.
There's no way.
I think he definitely could.
There's no
I think he's-
way. I think Jets.
He won MVP 2 years ago.
Yeah, and then he threw 12 picks and was trash.
Mahomes threw 14 picks this year, and he won MVP.
Yeah, but he also threw 45 touchdowns.
Yeah, I think Rodgers totally could, especially with all these Jets weapons. I'm not saying
All
he will.
these Jets
I'm not saying
weapons
he
from
will.
the Packers. That
I'm not saying he will. He's got Garrett Wilson. They signed Dalvin Cook. They got Brees Hall coming back from injury. They got a good team there.
I think Jets
I'm
are.
not saying he will. That's not my official prediction, but I think it's definitely possible.
I think Jets are a 7th seed, and they're a 10-7 team, and that Aaron Rodgers will be very good, and he'll
Until the
probably
playoffs.
choke in the playoffs. Yeah. For 6, I have Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts has had a couple good years, and then this really good year. He only threw 25 touchdowns.
He ran for 13.
He ran for 13, but he only threw 25. It's the same kind of critique in a much lesser scale as to what's about Justin Fields. It's like running him in. I think a lot of that running came from his O-line just because of how good it is.
Mm-hmm.
I think he probably only gets like 5 touchdowns on the ground. If he had
I think like half of those probably were those QB sneaks.
best QB
the
sneaks in
goal
the league. They got like 10 yards of QB sneak. It was insane. Watching that, I think it was I can't remember what game. It was in the playoffs. It was either the Super Bowl or right before. and they were just QB sneaking every third down or every fourth down,
Mhm.
just getting 3-4 yards. It's crazy. They'd all push and they just like fly over the top. So I think a lot of his on the ground touchdowns aren't from how good he is at running, and it's from like how good his O line is, and especially Jason Kelsey right in the front there. I don't think that's all him. So throwing 25 touchdowns, I can't remember how many picks he threw. It
I
wasn't.
think he only had like 6.
Yeah, it wasn't that many. It's just shoot, I gotta find it here because it's gonna bug me if I don't. I can't even remember what conference they're in. Oh my goodness, I'm just struggling. He's a really strong runner though. We can see that he is good at running, and 22 touchdowns in the air, 6 interceptions, and on the ground he had 13 touchdowns, which is kind of crazy, but that gives him 35 touchdowns, which is what Josh Allen had in the air, and 6 picks is pretty good though.
Yeah.
So and 760 yards for 15 games. That's really solid. Again, I think it's mostly offensive line, and I think a lot of the offensive line goes to their running backs too. And I don't think that what's his name? They just lost him.
Miles Sanders.
Miles Sanders. I don't think Miles Sanders is going to be good this year. I think he'll be okay, just because of the offensive line. Shoot, I gotta check this other people who are really based in their assumptions about stuff. At 6, they had Lamar Jackson and 85 out of 100.
Okay.
So yeah, it's a solid place for him.
Yeah. My number 5, now cracking the top 5, is Justin Herbert, just because he makes some of those insane throws. Fantastic quarterback. He just doesn't win, and I don't get it. But he's really good still, regardless of that. But it'd be nice if he won some more games. He'd jump a spot or 2 up on my list, I think, if he did.
For real, what a loser! Like he loses a lot. Like they've lost, like they're 500 for the last 3 years.
I think he's only like 2 games above 500 in his career.
And I don't think that's mostly his fault.
Honestly.
But he does lose a lot, and can't blame much other people than the quarterback or the coaches. So
He's the leader of the team.
Falls on him. 5, I have Lamar Jackson. I think he's a better runner than Hurts. He has a
I think he's the best runner for quarterbacks.
Yeah, I think so too. Crazy.
I don't think it's that close. I know Fields is pretty good at that, but I think Lamar's better, like significantly, honestly.
And he's way better at throwing than Fields, and I think he's better throwing than Hurts too. And he didn't have the most spectacular offensive line when he ran MVP. And how many touchdowns did he run in that year?
I think it might have been like 12 or something, but he threw for 33 as well.
Yeah, and then
led the league.
He also ran for 1,200 something yards. And what a crazy guy. He was just out a lot this season because he was ouchy, And it's always funny to see him on the sidelines, just having a little grin when everyone's in his shades, watching his team fall apart without him.
Watching Tyler Huntley fumble at the 2.
Man. Yeah, that's I
do think also with the Ravens getting a new offensive coordinator that can really help Lamar as well.
Oh, for sure. And we'll just see as the season plays out. 5, Sharp had Justin Herbert just above Lamar, and they had him at 88 out of 100.
All right, my number 4 quarterback now is Jalen Hurts of the Philadelphia Eagles. So 3 of us all have him at different spots here, inside of the top 10 still, inside of the top 6 even. He was second place in MVP voting last year. Most of the votes did go to Mahomes, but he got the second most.
Yeah.
And then he very nearly almost led the Eagles to their second Super Bowl in the last 5 or 6 years. And if he can have another season like that, I think he could even work his way up the rankings here even more. It's going to be tough, obviously, when you get into the top 5 and moving around and whatnot, but he's a fantastic dual threat as well. Of course, we talked about his 13 rushing touchdowns, although half of those did come at the goal line and whatnot, but still, they're touchdowns that he did get, and they only lost 2 games all season with him under center.
Yeah, I mean, you could have just as easily put that in the running back's hand and had him jump and then had no rushing touchdowns or 2 or 3. Yeah, I think he's still a terrific quarterback, and not to be knocking on him or anything. I think he's a tad overrated when everyone says I've seen rankings and people are crazy, man.
I get him being the second for MVP last year, but I don't think he's the second best quarterback in the league.
Tied for second.
No, he had more than Allen.
They both had 1.
No, but second place votes and third place votes and all that.
Okay.
Hurts was second.
It should have been, I think, unanimously, but that is
Unanimously, Allen.
yeah, unanimously Allen. At 4, I have Aaron Rodgers, coming off 2 back-to-back MVPs,
And
then,
you're calling me crazy. I have him at 6.
yeah, but you're thinking he might jump up to 1.
I think he has that potential still.
I think he stays
I
at
still
4.
think he's Aaron freaking Rodgers.
Okay, Packers fan, but I think he stays at 4. I think he comes back with gusto and he wins 11, 10 games and because this is a hard AFC to be in. He's never been in the AFC before,
Mm-hmm.
and I think he gets a kick in the pants and doesn't win, a bunch, but 10 games and I think he's still a really good quarterback. Two MVP seasons and then just 8 and 9, and then.
Mm-hmm.
I think he bounces back, just kind of like Russ. So I think he will be the number 4 quarterback.
Okay.
And the analysts have Jalen Hurts at 4. So,
Mhm.
sure. The
Sweet.
88 out of 100.
Mm-hmm. All right, so my number 3 then, I got Josh Allen. And I was comparing him and Jalen Hurts and whatnot. He's just as good of a dual threat as Jalen Hurts. They both had 700-some rushing yards. But if you combine the rushing yards and passing yards, rushing touchdowns, passing touchdowns, Josh Allen had 500 more yards and 7 more total touchdowns.
Yep.
And I think he's a more talented passer than Hurts is. And that's not to take anything away from Hurts. Hurts was dropping dimes all of last season out to A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith and whatnot. But Allen does that as well. And he's been doing it. He's been a little bit more consistently doing that for a little bit longer. Now, obviously, that's because he's been playing in the league a little bit longer. But I think I know more who Josh Allen is than Jalen Hurts so far. I think Jalen Hurts can still be very good, but I want to see more from him before I solidify anything like that. I think Josh Allen is also very overhated.
Oh, my gosh.
Just because he hasn't won the Super Bowl in his first 5 years. I mean, it took Peyton Manning 9 years to get to his first Super Bowl. So, and he's a top 5 quarterback all time, pretty much no matter who you ask. So, just a little bit of patience for Josh Allen and the Bills. He's still one of the best quarterbacks in the league. He is incredible. And I think I almost put him at 2. I think the difference between him and Burrow is very close. Kind of like what David was saying earlier, except I would say that there is a tier above Mahomes and Burrow Allen and Burrow that is Mahomes. I would say I think Mahomes really is that much better than Burrow and Allen, but I think the difference between Burrow and Allen is very slight, and I think you could go either way with him at 1 or at 2 and 3.
Yeah, I did end up putting him at 3 just because I didn't want to be the guy who's like, oh, look, my quarterback is at 2. But, man, he doesn't have as many weapons as Jalen Hurts either, because he just has essentially Diggs out there, and then Gabriel Davis kind of just
He's there
too. So he has one really good receiver, and he has an okay tight end, and his his freaking running backs aren't that good either, and it's kind of
getting hit by jet skis.
Yeah, well, oops. But yeah, he has significantly less weapons than Jalen Hurts, I think, and way less of an offensive line. And he ran for the same amount of yards. I think I agree with everything you said. I do think these 3 are in the same league, though. I think they're in the same tier, but Patrick Mahomes is like pushing the boundaries of that tier, and these 2 guys are so close. I think. I think a lot of why Burrow is above him, and there's no hiding it anymore. It's like our rankings are Patrick Mahomes,
we got the same top 3.
Joe Burrow, Allen,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that is probably how it should be, and maybe Allen at 2. But I think the thing right now is to overhate Josh Allen, overlove Patrick Mahomes, and Joe Burrow sat there just as good as Allen, and then it's like, well, if we hate Allen, then he's at 3. And then we like Burrow, so he's better.
Mm-hmm. And it was really close for me between Allen and Burrow. I think the one thing that the thing that Burrow has is he's a touch more consistent, and he's a little bit more efficient. He's got higher completion percentages and whatnot. But Allen has the ability on the ground to run, and then he is a little bit more inconsistent. But I mean, even if you look at the interception numbers, Allen only threw 1 more than Burrow last season. So
And he ran more in than Burrow did too.
And Burrow's got the best receiving core in the league.
Yeah, he has top. All three of his
No
receivers.
offensive line though.
All three of his receivers are in the top 15 receivers, I think.
Yeah,
Maybe his two best receivers are in the top 15. That other
I'd
guy's
say
floating around 20.
they're all in the top 32 though, which is crazy.
3 receivers in the top 32. Just I think that's crazy. Best receiving core in the league for sure.
And then obviously at 1, it's Patrick Mahomes. He's coming off his second MVP, his second Super Bowl, and he's only 27. Like he's just getting started. He's got at least another decade ahead of him here with the Chiefs. And I do think he is another level above Burrow and Allen, even if it is just the Super Bowls and the MVPs that he's got and whatnot. I think he's on another level than them.
I think a lot of that can be contributed to the coaching as well. Because
it helps when you got Andy Reid.
Andy Reid went into Philadelphia and won a Super Bowl with them.
Nope.
No?
He lost the Super Bowl with them.
Oh, he took him to the Super Bowl.
Uh-huh.
And then he comes into one of the worst teams in the league and then turns it whole around and then has a really, really talented quarterback and goes to 3 Super Bowls in 4 years and wins 2 of them. And I think a lot of that is coaching. I think that is what separates Josh Allen, Burrow from Patrick Mahomes.
Not that Allen or Burrow have bad coaches.
No,
But they're not Andy Reid.
Very good coaches. I think Andy Reid is the best coach in the league right now.
I'd agree.
And I think that they should give Coach of the Year to the best coach, not the newest coach who's being 50.
Yeah, not the guy who took the 5-11 team to 10-6, and then gets fired 3 years later.
Yeah. So, but I did think the guy in the Giants did really good. I can't remember his name.
Yeah, Brian Dable.
Brian Dable did really good.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Let us know your quarterback rankings, maybe like your top 3, your top 5. Let us know your thoughts. I'll do a little thing on Spotify where you can swipe down, or if you're on YouTube, you can leave a comment, tell us what you think, and that's it for us today, I think.
Yeah, for anyone wondering, the Sharp analyst had the same thing. It was Mahomes, Burrow, Allen, and then Hurts at 4, which I disagree with, and you heard me talk about that and gripe about it.
I will say Sharp was pretty based with their top 5.
Top 5 pretty based, yeah.
Because they were all the exact same as mine.
They're a little different than mine. But, they had Burrow, or they had Mahomes at 100, and then they had Burrow 97, Allen 94, which is slander, I think. But whatever. And then below him at Hurts was even with Herbert, and they both had 88. So I think saying Hurts is better than Allen is incorrect.
I would agree with that. I think they're kind of similar players. But
Oh,
I think
for
Allen's
sure.
better.
For sure. And he's on a worse team, I believe.
Yeah, not as stacked.
So,
All right.
Maybe not a worse team, but just not as many superstars.
Yeah, thank you all for watching, listening. Thank you again, David, for coming on the show. Hopefully we'll have him on sometime years. The regular season is rapidly approaching. And leave a comment, leave a like, all that good stuff.
Super excited.
We'll see you guys next time.
Yeah, bye-bye.